All right, we're doing a live stream here. I'm just going to wait for the room to populate a little bit. Uh, in the meantime, I want to do this live stream because I'm hearing a lot about antagonists, protagonists, heroes, villains, and I just want to clarify that your central character, there's a difference between a protagonist and an antagonist, and I just see the verbiage a lot when what they really mean instead of protagonist is they mean central character, the character who the story is about. And if we're going to do a character driven story, I just think having the verbiage clarified helps a little bit, because if you're only thinking protagonist, it limits your storytelling potential. And so what I want to talk about is kind of the myth of uh, having the antagonist be a separate entity. It doesn't have to be the man in black, right? It can be your central character. Your central character can be the antagonist of the story. And what I want to talk about specifically is A Star is Born, the main character, Jackson Maine, played by Bradley Cooper. I know it's a couple years old, but the movie has been redone a few times, I think 3 times now. I also mentioned it in my book, the Guide for Every Screenwriter. So I just want to talk about that because I love his journey as his own antagonist. When you watch the film, some people think, "Oh, it's the music industry that is the antagonist." It's not. It's him. It's his fears. It's his insecurities. It's his addiction. That is his antagonist. And so, if we can just talk about that, and I also want this to be and in general Q&A. So if you guys have questions about this topic that we're discussing, or if you have in general screenwriting questions, please throw them in the chat. I'll look at them and answer them as best I can. I also have some screenwriting gigs that we can go over as well, some screenwriting leads I can talk about. But I just wanted to cover this because I see the narrative online, and, young screenwriters are impressionable. And I've been doing this for a while, and I just want to make sure that you open up your mind so that you're not limiting what you are writing. Okay, so let's go over some of my notes here. Um, let's see. So, one way to build a character that is self destructive is you give them a clear want, right? So, for Jackson Maine in A Star is Born, it is that he wants to be relevant, and he knows that his star is fading, so he finds relevancy in a new talent that he discovers, Lady Gaga. And so thinking that he can use her to continue to propel his career forward, whereas he actually launches her into this big star and then lives in her shadow, which then reinforces his insecurity in the fact that his star is fading. With having that deeper fear, it allows him to then give into that self destructive behavior and making himself sabotage. For him, it's drugs and alcohol, right? Then we want to make sure in their journey that we are showing the overall cost of what this is causing. For him, he is falling in love with Lady Gaga. And in that arc, we see potential for him to come out the other side, to make it, to retire, to live in her fame and just live in their love. But his fear and his anxieties and his insecurities don't allow him to do that. So instead of taking drugs and going out that way, he feels like he's an albatross around her neck and then takes the path of suicide, which is devastating. And it has that impact of his journey, um, but emotionally you feel it, and he lives on throughout the characters. So really coming to character driven story from that way, it allows you to tell a very powerful and emotionally driven story without again having to rely on the man in black. And I just wanted to go over that real quickly so that we can have that discussion. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. Someone's asking the title of my podcast. The podcast is called The Successful Screenwriter. It is available everywhere. Let's see here. what we were just talking about was writing your central character as their worst enemy or writing your protagonist as your antagonist so that their self-destructive behavior is their downfalling instead of having an overall bad guy. Another example would be There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis's character is a monster in that film. He's not a likable character. And a lot of this can actually play into likability as well. I hear about that is like you have to have a likable character. You don't. You have to have a character that people understand. That's it, that they can empathize with. If we understand a character's motives and goals clearly, they don't have to be likable. They should be compelling. I mean, obviously, in There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis' character is a cutthroat oil baron, right? And his downfall comes from his own greed, as we see at the very end there. See if anybody else has any questions. If you guys have any in general screenwriting questions, let me know. I will go through a couple of screenwriting gigs that we just posted on thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com. Let's take a look. All right. So the first one we have is seeking positive and unique scripts about drug addiction. And again, this is why I wanted to go over your character as your antagonist, because this producer is looking exactly for that. We're looking for completed feature length scripts that tell positive and unique untold stories about drug addiction. But we don't just want to focus on the people struggling with drugs, but rather than those around that person who are equally affected, and some of the heroes of addiction treatment who have made a difference in the lives of others. So all you have to do is go to thesuccessfulscreener.com, go on my blog, and you can apply to that script request absolutely free. Or you can, I'm sorry, I have to go to my notes here. Use the hashtag script leads in the comments and I will send you a link. Now, let's look at the next one. And this one is interesting because it's actually a little bit of a throwback in style, so I'm curious what they want to do with it. They are seeking vertical mini-series scripts. We are looking for completed vertical mini-series scripts. Please only submit if your script is fully intended to be shot in a vertical format. I mean, they pretty much mean like for your phone. We are like reels, things like that. We are specifically looking for scripts that are in soap opera style, with each episode running approximately 1 to 2 minutes in length. Total runtime for the miniseries would be around 90 minutes, with the number of episodes ranging from 60 to 80. Essentially, they want to take like a whole feature and do it in a vertical format for like reels or YouTube shorts. So the really tricky part to that is if you have a script, I mean, you're going to have something compelling every other page essentially. So that can be really difficult to do, but if you're able to write it in a short form content so that every couple of pages you have almost like an act out where they have to come back to the next episode to find out what's going on, then go for it. Let me see if anybody has any questions. And again, you'll want to hit hashtag comment script leads, and that will send you right to my website, or you can just go on the blog, successfulscreenwriter.com. I have a ton of resources on here for you guys to check out, absolutely free. You just go on there and take advantage of it. This is why I do this thing. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will be happy to answer. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Yep, I don't see anything. While you guys are kind of thinking about that, Script Summit is open. So if you have any scripts that you want to enter into the contest, we are exclusively on Coverfly. Lots of great prizes this year. We actually have Hollywood producers and directors that the top winners will have their scripts sent to those Hollywood producers and directors, and they will read your script, get it right in front of the industry, and give you notes, or hopefully if they like it, create that relationship. The other prizes we have is you will actually come on this podcast right here and we will chat about your script. You'll get to pitch it and everything, and I will put it out just for you. Let's see. I don't see any questions today. Well, that's okay. All right. All right, very good. Well, that was it. This was a quick one. If you guys have questions on screenwriting, make sure that you send them to me. You DM them to me, and then I will take a look at them and come back on here in a week and address your questions. All right. Thank you. Have a good one.